Long before modern civilization, before cities, roads, or even written history, our world was wild, dangerous, and almost completely untouched. Most people think humans were always alone. But for hundreds of thousands of years, several different human species shared the Earth together. Then something extraordinary happened. One by one, every other human species disappeared until only one remained. The biggest mystery isn't that they vanished. The real question is, why did we survive? Millions of years passed. Ice melted. Forests expanded. Rivers changed course. But humanity continued adapting with every new challenge. The survivor eventually became us. Every person alive today belongs to the last remaining human species. So what happened to the others? Were they weaker? Less intelligent? Or was survival decided by something completely unexpected? To answer that question, we need to travel back nearly 2 million years to where the human story truly began. Africa looked completely different. Every day was a battle for survival, surrounded by predators much stronger than early humans. For our ancestors, every sunrise brought a new challenge. Finding food was difficult, but staying alive was even harder. Believe it or not, Earth was once home to several different kinds of humans, each adapting to its own unique environment. They weren't identical. Some were stronger, some shorter, some better suited to cold climates, but they were all members of the human family. One of the earliest innovators was Homo habilis, whose simple stone tools marked the beginning of human technology. Then came one of humanity's greatest breakthroughs, mastering fire. It provided warmth, protection, and cooked food that changed survival forever. Neanderthals weren't primitive monsters. They were powerful hunters who survived some of the harshest environments on Earth. On isolated islands lived tiny human relatives that evolved in ways scientists never expected. Far above the clouds, other human relatives adapted to freezing mountain environments where survival demanded incredible resilience. At one point, our planet wasn't ruled by a single humanity, it was shared by many. Each human species discovered its own strategy for survival, shaped by the environment around them. But this peaceful balance wouldn't last. Nature was about to test every human species in ways none of them could predict. But then, everything changed. The climate became colder, harsher, and far less predictable. The world our ancestors knew began disappearing. Ice spread across continents. Temperatures dropped dramatically, transforming once familiar landscapes into frozen wilderness. As forests disappeared, the plants and animals that humans depended on disappeared with them. Entire herds migrated hundreds of miles in search of food. If humans wanted to survive, they had to follow. Food became harder to find. Every meal required more effort, and every mistake could mean starvation. Entire communities packed everything they owned and began dangerous journeys across unfamiliar lands. The journey itself was deadly. Blizzards, freezing temperatures, and exhaustion claimed countless lives. Some communities never reached their destination. Their camps were left behind, silent reminders of a struggle they couldn't overcome. Slowly, some human populations became smaller and smaller, until entire groups disappeared forever. But one group responded differently. Instead of surviving alone, they survived together. That decision would change the future of humanity forever. As the world became more dangerous, one human species discovered something even more powerful than strength, working together in larger communities. Every member of the group had an important role. Hunters, gatherers, builders, elders, and children all contributed to the survival of the community. Instead of keeping food for themselves, successful hunters shared with everyone. A full village had a much better chance of surviving the next winter. When someone became injured, the group didn't abandon them. They cared for each other, increasing the chances that valuable knowledge and experience would survive. Knowledge became humanity's greatest inheritance. Every lesson passed from one generation to the next made the entire species stronger. Skills weren't left to chance. Young hunters practiced constantly, learning from the mistakes and successes of those who came before. Sometimes one simple invention could completely change the odds of survival. A stronger spear meant safer hunts and more food. Unlike other human species, modern humans shared ideas rapidly. A useful invention could spread across hundreds of miles in just a few generations. Smaller, isolated groups faced a different challenge. If too few people knew an important skill, that knowledge could disappear forever. Our greatest advantage wasn't sharper teeth or stronger muscles. It was the ability to cooperate, share knowledge, and build on the discoveries of those who came before. Human innovation didn't happen overnight. Every generation improved the tools they inherited, making survival a little easier than before. Fire wasn't just warmth. It protected families from predators, cooked food more safely, and created a place where people could gather, teach, and plan. As the climate grew colder, humans adapted again. Better clothing meant surviving winters that once would have been impossible. Strong shelters protected entire families from freezing temperatures, storms, and dangerous animals. Every improvement increased the odds of survival. For the first time, humans began thinking beyond today. Storing food meant surviving tomorrow and the winter after that. Instead of relying on strength alone, humans relied on planning. A coordinated hunt was far more successful than a reckless attack. When the hunt succeeded, everyone benefited. Cooperation transformed individual success into the survival of the entire community. Smaller groups often faced much greater risks. Fewer hunters meant fewer chances, and one failed hunt could become a disaster. Over thousands of years, these small differences added up. Large connected communities became stronger, while isolated populations became increasingly vulnerable. The greatest survival tool humans ever invented wasn't a weapon. It was cooperation. Working together allowed our ancestors to overcome challenges that no individual could face alone. Neanderthals were not primitive or unintelligent. They were highly skilled survivors who thrived in some of the harshest environments on Earth. They understood the land, tracked animals with incredible precision, and hunted as coordinated teams. Their lives were filled with creativity, family, and cooperation, much more similar to ours than many people realize. Like modern humans, Neanderthals cared for their elderly and injured, proving that compassion has deep roots in our shared history. But there was one major problem. Their population was surprisingly small, and their communities were spread far apart. Modern humans expanded rapidly, while Neanderthal populations remained isolated. That difference would become incredibly important. For a small population, one natural disaster could erase years of progress in a single day. Illness may also have played a role. Even a small outbreak could have devastating consequences for isolated communities. When populations are small, every life matters. Losing only a few individuals can threaten the survival of an entire group. Little by little, the Neanderthals faded from history. Not because they lacked intelligence, but because survival sometimes depends on numbers, connection, and opportunity. Modern humans didn't just survive because they were intelligent. They survived because they stayed connected. Ideas, resources, and people began moving between communities. Long before money existed, our ancestors traded valuable resources. A simple journey could bring new tools, new ideas, and new friendships. Objects from distant lands began appearing hundreds of miles away. Trade connected people who had never met before. But something even more valuable than trade was spreading knowledge. Every useful discovery quickly reached other communities. Instead of solving the same problems over and over again, humans learned from one another. Every shared lesson made the next generation stronger. Gradually, humanity became more than isolated tribes. It became a living network of shared knowledge stretching across entire continents. Eventually, different human species crossed paths. These encounters may have been cautious, curious, or sometimes competitive. Not every meeting ended in conflict. Some may have begun with curiosity and even friendship. Although they looked different, they solved many of the same survival challenges. They hunted, cared for their families, and adapted to the world around them. Today, scientists know that many modern humans still carry small amounts of Neanderthal DNA. In a way, they never completely disappeared. Over thousands of generations, one human species after another quietly disappeared. Eventually, only one remained. The places they once called home slowly became silent. Nature reclaimed villages that had once been full of life. Without people to maintain them, camps disappeared beneath forests, rivers changed course, and time erased nearly every trace of those ancient communities. While others vanished, modern humans continued exploring. No environment was impossible to adapt to. From deserts to frozen tundra, from dense rainforests to remote islands, humans eventually reached every corner of the planet. Our greatest strength wasn't physical power. It was the ability to adapt faster than any other human species. As generations passed, small camps slowly became thriving communities where cooperation fueled rapid growth. Centuries became millennia. Every generation added new ideas, new discoveries, and new ways to survive. Eventually, survival became something more. Humans stopped simply adapting to nature and began shaping the world around them. After millions of years of evolution, competition, and survival, one human species remained. Every person alive today is part of that incredible story. For hundreds of thousands of years, humans hunted and gathered. Then one revolutionary idea changed everything: farming. Growing food meant people no longer had to constantly search for their next meal. Communities could finally settle in one place. Temporary camps became permanent villages. Families stayed together, populations grew, and communities became stronger than ever. As villages expanded, not everyone needed to hunt or farm. New professions appeared, bringing even more innovation. Small villages eventually became the world's first civilizations, where culture, science, trade, and government began to flourish. Human curiosity never stopped. People continued exploring farther than ever before, discovering new lands and connecting distant cultures. Trade routes expanded across continents, allowing ideas, inventions, and knowledge to spread faster than ever. Thousands of years later, those same human abilities, cooperation, innovation, and exploration, helped shape entirely new nations, including the United States. Today's America is the result of countless generations building upon the knowledge of those who came before, always improving and adapting. Although our lives have changed dramatically, the curiosity, creativity, and determination that helped our ancestors survive still live within us today. Today, we continue searching for answers. Scientists study fossils, DNA, and ancient artifacts to better understand where we came from. With modern technology, researchers can compare ancient DNA with our own, revealing surprising connections to human species that vanished long ago. Every major invention builds upon the discoveries of earlier generations. Human progress has always been a chain of shared knowledge. Artificial intelligence represents another step in humanity's long journey of innovation. Like every tool before it, its impact depends on how wisely we use it. Our ancestors once explored forests and mountains. Today, humanity looks beyond Earth toward entirely new worlds. Mars may become humanity's next great frontier, continuing the same spirit of exploration that carried our ancestors across continents. Wherever humans go, we bring cooperation, creativity, and the ability to solve problems together. Despite our differences, every person alive today belongs to the same remarkable human story, one family shaped by millions of years of evolution. The greatest survivor wasn't the strongest or the fastest. It was the species that learned, adapted, and worked together better than anyone else. Our story is far from over. Every discovery, every invention, and every generation adds another chapter to the incredible journey of humanity. Looking back across millions of years, humanity's journey is one of constant adaptation, discovery, and resilience. Each generation inherited knowledge from the last and added something new before passing it forward. The same curiosity that inspired our ancestors to explore unknown lands still drives scientists to ask new questions today. The past still has countless stories to tell. Every discovery helps us understand ourselves a little better. No matter where we live or what language we speak, every person shares a common human heritage. Our greatest achievement isn't one invention or one civilization. It's our ability to work together to solve problems across generations. The next chapter of human history has not been written yet. It will be created by the generations growing up today. As we continue advancing, protecting our planet becomes one of humanity's most important responsibilities. From Earth to distant planets, humanity's future is limited only by imagination, cooperation, and the courage to explore. From stone tools to space travel, every chapter belongs to one extraordinary story, the story of humanity. When we look into the past, we don't just see ancient people, we see ourselves and the remarkable path that brought us here. Thank you for joining this journey through millions of years of human history. We hope you've discovered something new about our incredible past. Our story continues with every new discovery. If you enjoyed this journey, explore another adventure and keep your curiosity alive. Thanks for watching.